Here's everything I'm loving in my analog bag.
This is an analog bag.
This is my analog bag because cool girls are not doom scrolling in 2026.
Let's go build an analog hobby bag together.
Going analog is the trend.
I just made an analog cart.
Come build an analog bag with me.
I heard all the cool girls are making analog bags, so if you don't think I want to be a cool girl with an analog bag, you don't know me at all.
I have seen the idea of an analog bag flooding my For You page, so I wanted to hop on the trend.
A new trend has been rising on social media, and that's the analog bag. What started as a genuine attempt to unplug from the internet and stop doom scrolling has quickly become another excuse to overconsume and, you guessed it, doom scroll. So today we're going to talk about an analog bag, what it's supposed to do, and why, in my opinion, I think it's failing at doing that. And just talking in general about the ins and outs of being analog and overconsumption. Also, yes, I am aware that I am actually very late to this trend. The amount of times I record things and let them sit in my drafts until they're no longer relevant is ridiculous. So just think of this as more of a retrospective on the trend of earlier this year. But more importantly, before we get started, I need to tell you guys that I am now selling my artwork. So if you go to taylorcmillens.com, which will be linked in the description, you can buy originals, prints, stickers, and I am painting every day and adding more art. Some pictures up on the screen of some of my artwork. I'm really excited. I love painting. It's one of my greatest passions, and this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. And so if you want some of my original artwork or reasonably priced prints on your walls, or a fun sticker to put on your laptop or water bottle or whatever, go check out my website. And if you subscribe to my Patreon, you can get a discount code for my website if you wanted to do that. So Patreon and website will be linked below. Thank you guys so much. An analog person is someone who would use a typewriter instead of their laptop. They are someone who prioritizes the real in-person life instead of the digital life. They might draw on paper instead of on their iPad. They might handwrite letters to their friends instead of texting them. They might prioritize physical media over digital libraries. And this is not always what the word analog has meant, but this is the shape it has taken in recent years. I personally caught wind of the analog bag trend through YouTube because I don't get on TikTok. And it's not because I think I'm better than the people who use that app. It's because I know for a fact that I will scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll until all my brain cells die, so I just have to exercise control and not open that app. And that is also a problem that a lot of the people who have turned to using the analog bag also seem to be having. But I know the app gets me, so I just can't use it. Anyway, I went on TikTok for this video, and I spent a while scrolling, trying to find out what exactly this analog bag is all about. Because here on this channel, we love being analog, so this seemed right up my alley. I absolutely 100% believe we need to get off our phones. Americans spend an average of 5 hours and 16 minutes on our phones every day, and 98% of Americans own a mobile phone. Even people I know that I would consider to be chronically offline still have a surprisingly high screen time, because everyone has a phone and those things are difficult to avoid. I'm sure that every single person watching this is very aware of how prevalent phone and social media usage have become, how addictive it is, and how much of a problem that is for us as individuals and as a society. There have been a lot of fleeting trends in the past few years that have tried to encourage people to get offline, but they don't work because inevitably people just go back to using their phones. Trends like the dumb phone have come and gone, but a lot of these trends have something in common besides their fleeting lifespan. They require you to buy things up front with the hope that the item you purchased will help you stay offline. The intent of the analog bag is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's a bag or purse that you fill with things that encourage you to be more analog and spend less time on your phone in your daily life. Notebooks, film cameras, art supplies, various little things to keep you moving and keep your mind busy so you don't get that itch to grab your phone.
This is an analog bag. My invention that went viral last year for helping people stop doom scrolling. Studies show that in order to actually change a habit, you have to replace the habit instead of just quitting it cold turkey. Up analog hobbies and make them as accessible as your phone.
When I scrolled through TikTok and looked at these people using their analog bags, the main thing I came across was people buying things. Buying things to fill up their analog bags and posting monthly updates of what was new and changing in their bags. And a lot of comments on these videos were people expressing that they had spent hours and hours scrolling through analog bag videos trying to decide what they should put in their own bags. This genuine desire to find a way to get offline led them to scroll more. And the very first video that showed up when I searched analog bag was a monthly update from someone who was naming every single product in her bag and telling you where to buy them. And while I appreciate that she wasn't gatekeeping things, it just kind of made it feel like an ad. I said in a recent video that absolutely no one watched, that in our capitalist society, we have to actively strive every single day to not contribute to fast fashion culture, aka overconsumption. And this is especially true of fleeting trends and hobbies, which are a gold mine of little things to purchase here and there. And while there is absolutely nothing wrong with picking up a new hobby, and in fact, I think it's really wonderful and important to try new things and learn what makes you happy, we also have to be aware of how we do that and how we engage with it. Are we spending a bunch of money on it up front before we even know if it will work for us long term? Is the joy that we're getting from this hobby linked primarily to the dopamine hit of buying the supplies? Or is it the hobby itself that brings us joy? Brands are very good at using our passion for creativity and our desire to enrich our lives in order to sell us things. To convince us what we need to enrich our lives is actually material possessions. And we as consumers can easily fall victim to that, but we can also perpetuate it. Okay, so for this next video, I want to show you, and honestly for every video I've shown here, I really want to make it clear that I do not know anything about these people beyond the fact that they made these videos about these bags. I'm sure they are all lovely, wonderful people who are genuinely just trying their best to get offline, and I am not coming for any of these people individually or saying anything bad about them as people. But in this next video, it is a girl talking about how she's going to make an analog bag. So she records herself going into Michael's and picking stuff out for her analog bag. And I think the idea of wanting to get offline and be more grounded, and your solution to that is not only to just go buy a bunch of stuff, but to record yourself doing it and then post it online, is so... There is a certain degree of cognitive dissonance that has to happen there in order for that to make sense in your own brain. And it's potentially very, very hypocritical of me to talk about this trend at all on my YouTube channel after I spent God knows how long on my phone looking up stuff about this and recording and editing. I know. I'm a hypocrite, okay? Do I contradict myself? Very well then. I contradict myself. I contain multitudes, and so do all these people I'm talking about.
Let's go build an analog hobby bag together. I am a lover of a good cozy hobby. I love to just spend my nights in. Anything to keep me off my phone and more present is exactly what 2026 is all about for me. So we're gonna go inside and see what we can find, so let's go. I already have some coloring books and a few markers, but I definitely want to get more. This coaster kit could be kind of fun to do. I like that these canvases have the design on them because I am admittedly not much of an artist. I'm not sure which pack of colors to get. These ones are like metallic and then these are just more regular colors. I'm kind of thinking these ones might be better. I think these are the packs of markers I'm gonna get. I have some like gel pens and then also some acrylic paint pens. Okay, I know Christmas is technically over, but this is in the sale section and I can just add it and do it whenever. I don't care. I'm not confined to one season. I will color this whenever. On some more pens and markers, so we're gonna do a little trade out because this is more what I was looking for. Okay, I lied, one more thing. We're gonna get this coloring book too, and then that's everything.
So now let's look at what's actually in an analog bag. It does vary a bit from person to person, but overall there are quite a few overlapping items in every bag, which makes sense since people seem to be going through the tag and getting their ideas of what to put in their own bags from other creators. This leads to all of these analog bags being virtually the same. From my research, an analog bag most commonly contains a notebook or journal, a watercolor palette, the Myrtle book. Everyone is recommending the Myrtle book. I'm not even entirely sure what it is, but a lot of these people are recommending this book very strongly, and they're also using a lot of the same language to describe it to people. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but that's kind of suspicious. These bags also tend to include a book or a Kindle to read books on, a camera, mostly film cameras, and a hobby that doesn't really make sense for a bag, like needlework or pottery. I also saw a couple of people recommending the book The Artist's Way for their bags, and I have not read that, so I cannot confirm or deny if it's any good or if it's really motivating for artists. I hope it is. But I do find it interesting just how many things, down to specific books, are being repeated throughout all of these bags, especially the Myrtle book. People are very enthusiastically pushing the Myrtle books to their analog bags, and I'm sorry, but it just screams paid advertisement to me. Like somebody somewhere down the line, in my opinion, got paid to put this in their bag, and now everyone else is just doing it because it's become part of the trend.
The number one recommendation I got last month is for the puzzle book Myrtle.
The first thing is this Myrtle puzzle. You guys, I'm obsessed with this.
I keep seeing it in people's analog bag, and I wanted it.
I also have seen everybody getting this Myrtle book. I did like 5 of them last night. It was so fun.
The internet convinced me to buy this puzzle book.
Now I have an analog bag. Here's what's in it. Number 1, Myrtle. If you like trivia, puzzles, kind of murder mystery, you're gonna love this thing. I saw it on TikTok and I was like, what is this? Why does everyone have it? I get it now.
I have been looking for things to do to help me stay off of my phone, but still keeps my mind busy, so I won't want to pick up my phone or watch TV. And I think I found the perfect book. It's called Myrtle.
I suspect a lot of paid advertisements made their way into the ecosystem of these bags. And the thing is, I don't think an analog bag is a bad idea at all. I think that making the conscious decision to carry things around with you that you will use in lieu of your phone is a very good practice. My problem lies with the consumerist aspect of it, where people are going out and buying a ton of new stuff just to put it in their bags. At a certain point, it becomes an excuse to go shopping and indulge, rather than an earnest attempt to get off your phone and make a change in your life. One more thing that bothers me, and this is just me. This is completely unrelated to everything else. This is just a personal nitpick I have. But the sheer amount of stuff people are putting into their bags just seems impractical. It honestly feels a little bit ludicrous to me. Is that not completely unrealistic and inconvenient to carry around all day? Won't it get really heavy? And won't you at a certain point just get tired of carrying around 2 bags? Because you are theoretically carrying around 2 bags because people are stuffing their analog bags so full you don't have room for a wallet, keys, whatever. You'd have to have a whole separate bag for that because the analog bag only has the analog stuff in it. I just think that after 2 or 3 days I would get really tired of having a really full bag on my shoulders and I would just stop using it. I mean, I honestly get annoyed carrying around a relatively lightweight bag, especially when I'm wearing a shirt where like the bag will pull down the shirt like that. It drives me crazy. Imagine having that on both shoulders. And secondly, and this is sort of the main thing that bothers me about this, and this is just a me thing. This has nothing to do with whether I think this is a good idea for people or not. This is something I would struggle with. It would absolutely overwhelm me to have that many options in a bag at once. Does it not completely overwhelm you to have 47 different hobbies crammed into a bag that you can choose from at any given time because you carry it with you everywhere? I'm too indecisive for that. For me, if I were to have an analog bag, I would just pick 1 or 2 things to carry in the bag, and I would switch it out based off the vibe of the day. Like, today I'll just have my notebook and my camera. But tomorrow I'm doing this, so it would make more sense to bring my watercolor palette and a sketchbook, because I know I'm going to want to draw. And I would just choose a handful of things every day, or every couple of days if you don't want to make a new decision every day, instead of lugging it all around at once every day. I feel like that would make more sense from the practical standpoint of carrying it around, as well as for me personally, it would make it easier for me to make a decision. I think having every single thing I'm passionate about sitting right in front of me would have me feeling like I'm sitting at the foot of a fig tree unable to pick which fig to pick and eat. And so I would pick none of them and I would die. I'd have to narrow it down. But it wouldn't be as aesthetic and inspiring to do it that way. You couldn't show off all your hobbies and niche interests at once if they're not all stuffed into your bag. And I'm afraid for a lot of people this really isn't anything more than an aesthetic pursuit. They craft these analog bags to post on TikTok, to make their own personal lives look aspirational to others so they can get likes. Oh, and can I take this moment to bring up the people putting pottery in their bags? Pottery. I think pottery is cool. I think it would be an interesting hobby, and I encourage anyone who wants to pursue it to pursue it. But please be serious. You are not whipping a pottery wheel in a kiln out of your tote bag. At best, you just risk breaking your precious pottery by having it loose in some random tote bag. But realistically, you will not break it because it's not even in your bag. And you're only showing it off for the video and not actually putting it in your analog bag. Because for quite a lot of people, this really is just a performance for social media. And now that might sound like a harsh and rash judgment of someone, and it is, honestly. But there's people putting pottery in their analog bags. Pottery. Oh, that also reminds me, I saw someone who, she seemed like a lovely lady. I mean, honestly, the people I saw putting pottery in their bags, I don't think they're bad people. It just doesn't make sense to me. But there was this very sweet woman who put a portable DVD player in her pottery bag. Putting a portable DVD player in her analog bag. I think at a certain point we've lost the plot. I actually thought the DVD player was really cool, and I don't think there was anything wrong with carrying it around and watching stuff on it. And low-key, I would do that because I watch movies obsessively, but I don't think that's very analog. I feel we have lost the point of the analog bag. It seemed, based off of what the original creator said, that it was supposed to be a way to focus more on the hobbies you already have and the things in your life that you already do that often get overlooked in favor of being on your phone instead, and making an active choice to reverse that. I believe in the video she quotes that the only way to get rid of one habit is to replace it with another, and so the point of the analog bag were things to replace the habit of your phone, which is something I completely stand behind. But if the new habit you're picking up instead of your phone is the habit of buying things and engaging in consumerist tendencies, don't stand behind that. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of new things to live an analog life. And specifically to live an analog life in a way that is fulfilling for you. If you want to get more into art, I'm sure you already own pencils and a pen to practice with and see if that's something that you actually enjoy doing and want to progress with before you head to a craft and hobby store and buy some line art pens. If you're someone who likes watercolor, you probably already own a watercolor palette and don't need to buy a new one just for your analog bag. But if you're someone who doesn't own a watercolor palette and is new to it, in my personal opinion, that does not have to apply to you in any way, but it's just how I feel about it. I don't think starting with the analog bag is something that's really going to get you into watercolor, because I struggle to imagine not being familiar with watercolor, not being comfortable with it yet, and yet whipping it out in public trying to paint with it. I think it would make much more sense to start that and practice that at home in like a comfortable space where you don't have to worry as much about, I don't know, spilling paint or other people watching you, which surely must be intimidating when it's something completely new to you. Basically, just think on it and think about whether you would actually use this and how you would use it before you go out and buy it for a new bag. Because a lot of these things that people are putting in their own analog bags are not going to be practical for you personally if you choose to participate in this trend. If you want to do an analog bag, please start with things you already own and don't go into this wallet first. Please don't fall victim to yet another overconsumption trend. And the reason I say this is overconsumption is because, in my opinion, this does seem like yet another fleeting trend that people will get tired of in just a few months. If you buy new art supplies and use them until they're empty, that's not overconsumption. That's you making art. But I can probably guess that the majority of people who went out and bought a bunch of new markers and watercolor palettes just for this will never use those up before they inevitably end up at the back of their closet. I absolutely do not want to discourage anyone from making more strides to be less online and to be more present with their real lives. And I'm sure there are a handful of people who will have positive results from joining in on this trend, and who will continue to use their analog bags long after other people lose interest in it. And I'm so happy for those people, and maybe you're one of them, and I hope it goes really well for you. I only encourage you to think about how and why you're doing it. Maybe don't go out and buy a new tote bag just to put this stuff in. Don't buy new art supplies, puzzles, and cameras. Use what you have, at least just to start off, and see if you like it and if it's working for you before you put money into it. Decide for yourself what should go in your bag. Pick things that make sense for you and that will suit your tastes and enrich your life, rather than what everyone on TikTok is suspiciously recommending like their paychecks depend on it. Don't spend money recklessly is really all I'm trying to say. And that really applies to everything, but especially with trends like this and with hobbies. And honestly, we could all do to be more conscious of our purchases in general. Think critically about how you're spending your money. How often do you buy a little something just to make yourself feel better? How often do you go shopping? How often do you want to go shopping? Why do you want to go shopping? And make sure whenever you buy things, anything, to be conscious of how it affects you and your environment, which also directly affects you, because quite a lot of the little things that we want to purchase, especially for hobbies, are things that will in a very short period of time end up in a landfill and negatively impact our environment. But also with your purchases, you have to think about, is this benefiting you or the top 1% who own everything and who directly benefit from your desire to purchase new things? Just be cognizant and use your critical thinking skills whenever you're shopping. And in general, I mean, it's always good to use your critical thinking skills in life.
Here's how to actually be more analog in 2026. First, I want to say going analog isn't just about using your phone less. Living with intentionality is the goal, and a lower screen time is just a side effect. My number one tip for going analog in 2026 is to find your reason to do it. Whether you want to have more social connection in your life, or be more creative, or learn a new skill or hobby, or all of the above. When you have a goal in mind and you lean into it, a lower screen time will follow. It's hard to quit cold turkey on anything, so my advice is to be gentle with yourself and do it in a way that makes sense to you. Don't tell yourself to get off your phone and journal for an hour when you have never journaled in your life and you don't even think it's fun. That's simply unrealistic. To be more analog, take the path of least resistance. If your goal is to read more, don't pick up the book you think you should read. Pick up the book you know you'll enjoy. If you want to learn a new skill, don't stress yourself out over which class around you is the best one to take. Just find someone entertaining on YouTube that you enjoy watching. The internet has great resources, and if your goal is to just get off social media in general, then I see no problem with using it in a different way. Find your goal, take the easiest path, and do it all with intentionality, and the lower screen time will follow.
But in conclusion, when it comes to the analog bag, start simple. Focus on things you know you like. Make sure you're doing it for the purpose of getting offline and not for the dopamine hit of buying new things. Don't fall victim to another consumerist trend. And if you want more tips and ideas on how to be more analog without spending money, I mentioned them in my video here. And yes, I know I'm telling you to go watch a video, and that is very contradictory to the whole point of this, and it's very hypocritical, but I'm a hypocrite. But honestly, I'm totally cool if you don't watch this and you just go have fun. Please, go unplug and enjoy your life. When this video ends, that's what I'm gonna do. This is me and Pippin signing off. That's all, folks. Bye!